Happy holidays and happy winter solstice, my dear crystal lovers. Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, I'm AM. I have a company named AVIUVI, and at aviuvi.com you can find the most amazing and sustainably sourced crystals from all over the world. Now the shop is a little bit empty right now because we've just had the holiday seasons, but in January and February I will stock up on a lot of new amazing crystals for you guys. But we're going into the more slower months now. We've turned a corner with the winter solstice, and for me personally that always means that we're going into a time where it's a lot more introverted, a lot more quiet. And up here in the north we have this concept, or here in Denmark we have this tradition and concept of hygge. If you don't know what hygge is, it's all about, well, I guess creating the perfect moment of comfort and coziness. And it's like almost, it's not exactly a religious pursuit that we have, but it's just something that we all collectively agree upon, that now it's time for hygge. It is so dark and rainy and snowy outside these next coming months, and right now it's just so rainy outside and dark. So if I look particularly bright in the camera and the background is dark, it's because it's almost pitch black outside and it's the middle of the day. But that's the winter solstice up here in Denmark. We're moving into more brighter days, but it's gonna take a while. So life is just so different in these winter months here in Denmark, opposed to the summer months where everybody is just hyper energized. And especially when we turn another corner in the spring equinox around the 20th of March, then everybody is getting outside again, getting energized. But we do have this time where it's a great time for contemplating, for creative pursuits, for reading, for deeper connections with friends and family, but also with spirit, of course. So it's also a very introverted spiritual time. So I wanted to go through a little bit of the stuff that we do here in our home in these months. And the last time, I think it was the last video, I showed you this amazing wreath. This one, it's a linen wreath, or I think maybe you'd call it a flax wreath. But it's basically this one, and it's so wild and, I mean, untamed and perfect for the winter solstice. I think it's actually sold as a Christmas wreath, but I don't think it's very Christmassy, so we're just gonna have it on the door from now and up until the spring equinox. Because what we do is that we change out our wreaths every 3 months, and we make sure to get a natural wreath like this one, and then we give it back to nature at the end of the season. So either we burn it or we put it into a natural body of water, or I think actually in the case of this one, when we get to the spring equinox, I think I'm gonna bury it, because let me just show you, because these are all like little seed pods, and I don't know how old these seed pods are, but I think it would be fun to see if I could just actually put it in the garden and see if it grows. So I'll let you know how that goes. So these symbols of the changing seasons is something that I found as I've gotten older, that I really like my life indoors also to reflect the life outdoors. And I love having these natural materials around me. And another element that we of course bring into our space is of course crystals. And I had 2 crystals that I wanted for myself for 2022 and for 2023, and I got them. I have this huge chunk of 60 million year old petrified wood, and I've wanted this for such a long time. I love this piece that I have over here because it can actually stand up straight like a sculpture. It is so perfect and exactly what I wanted. So I can't wait to just enjoy this for this season, the next season, the entire year next year, and I love having this in my crystal collection. And it's a little bit of a sneak preview of what's coming up on the shop too. There's something so dignified about petrified wood, and I've made a whole video about it, so you can go and binge watch my other videos. Petrified wood it's so distinguished, it's so mind-blowing to me that this has been a live, living being here on planet Earth, and that every molecule has been switched out and turned this piece of wood into a piece of rock. I think that is absolutely amazing, and that's why I've wanted to have petrified wood for a really long time. But I think maybe you guys are like me, you kind of want the real, like the, the one piece that is exactly for you. And I'm so happy that I finally found it, and when I saw it, I just knew that this was the piece of petrified wood that I wanted to have along with me for the rest of my life. And it's such a sculpture, and I love it when crystals can be these everyday sculptures, right? And these everyday remind us of how amazing nature is. Like, we think as human beings that we're in control of everything and that everything is happening for us, but we're just this tiny little piece of history, and all of this magic has been happening for such a long time, long before we arrived here. I love that perspective, and I think it's such a healthy and good perspective to have here in the winter months, when you contemplate a little bit more and you're a lot more introverted, and it's kind of like the air is getting thinner here in the latter part of the year. So in my experience, I definitely feel like I have a much stronger connection with my spirituality, and this is like a great time for me to work with any kind of like channeling artwork or writing and creative pursuits, because it's like the air is just thinner in these months now. And I love that, and I really feel like it's healthy for us to embrace this period and this time. Then another crystal that I really wanted for myself for this season and this time that is coming up now was a huge piece of clear quartz, and I got this one for myself. And I wanted specifically a piece of clear quartz that I could sit with and meditate with and have in my space that was really, really present, different terminations and a ton of rainbows. And I just wanted this one so much for meditation. So I'm really, really happy, and also a lot of striations on the sides. Perfect for meditation. So this one is from Spain, but I also have quite a few clear quartz pieces for you guys in January and February, so stay tuned for those because they are so spectacular. So clear quartz is obviously all about clarity, it's all about amplified energy. And why I wanted a beautiful piece like this one is because when I sit and meditate, I sit, for example, here on the sofa, and sometimes I sit with a crystal. And I thought this one was so cool because it's super heavy. It has this apex that you can turn outwards or inwards, whether or not you want the energy to go outwards or inwards. And yeah, I absolutely love it. And I love a single crystal, like I have this Herkimer diamond that I wear every single day. A single piece of quartz like this one is so personal. We have a lot of the clusters all around, but we put them in places where we gather, where it's all about the amplified energy of the collective. And I am so happy about this piece of clear quartz that is just for me and just for my meditation. Amazing. And I'm sure that this is going to be a really personal piece for me too. Another thing in the crystal department that I love to have around me is marble and stone and travertine and alabaster. So I go and I collect a lot of it, and if you've seen some of my thrift shopping videos, you know how much I have of that stuff. And that's because I just love having these natural materials around me. I think they bring so much more value into my everyday life than something made out of plastic or glass or whatever material it is. And I did go thrift shopping without you guys, and I'm sorry. I know you love the thrift shopping videos, and I immediately regretted that I didn't bring you guys along, so I'm definitely gonna bring you the next time. But what I got the last time that I went thrift shopping were more of these amazing and so cool marble candle holders for tea lights. I guess you could use them for salt or herbs or whatever, but I actually had one already, and they just give off the most beautiful and cozy light. So I love having these around. And this is something that you can find in thrift shops here in Denmark for like next to nothing. They cost so little because they were super popular when I grew up in the 80s. And there's just an overload of this type of marble around here in Denmark. So I know I talk a lot on this channel about why it is so much better to buy secondhand or thrifted, especially when it comes to home interiors or cut and polished crystals. Why not to buy at IKEA or Zara Home or H&M Home and go for the thrift shops instead, like I do. But I actually found these two in the thrift shop, and these are from H&M Home. Again, I paid like $0 for it. So they were incredibly inexpensive. I guess it's like a salt and pepper set, and this one is a marble, this one looks like granite. And I mean, if you can find it in a thrift shop, why not get it there, right? Instead of always buying something newly produced. Now I do buy newly produced things from time to time, but I make sure to buy sustainable options or ethically sourced products, and what else? Like local shops, right? So I think maybe this was a sample for, I don't know, a countertop. It does look a little bit like a quartzine, but I think this is some type of granite actually. But in any case, these things are incredible for a lot of different purposes. So for example, for displaying crystals on, but also as like a coaster for your teapot, or just for displaying things. So if you find little samples or slabs of granite or stone like this one, it's definitely worth buying. And again, this one was like next to nothing. So the prices are always like ridiculously low on these things in thrift shops here in Denmark, especially if you go out to the suburbs. And it's just a great way of sourcing really good and sustainable materials in a more sustainable way. Another thing that I thrifted was this little wooden table right here. I also love to surround myself with wood materials, non-painted wood materials and non-lacquered wood materials, because it just brings such a warmth compared to the stone items. And I guess that's just a few of the elements that we use to bring in this cozy hygge vibe in these months. Now another thing is textiles. Lots of blankets and pillows and nice materials, organic materials. And I got something from my friend's store where I also got the Wreath. She has this amazing store here in Denmark, very popular, and I'll leave a link for it in the description below because it's definitely worth a visit. But I got these two tea towels from Firm Living, which is a Danish company, and it's 50% linen and 50% cotton. So I'll just unwrap those. And something like tea towels is just like such a cozy thing. These warm colors, the beautiful materials. I love the stripes. I think this is so cool. And we're definitely gonna use it also for setting the table and doing these more cozy, hyggely things. I think maybe today I'm gonna prepare a little meal for my son and I'll set the table with these. So another element of creating this hygge vibe is also working with your senses, putting on beautiful music, and yeah, it's just all about the senses, right? And I got some new scents from a wonderful company. I've had a lot of their things already, but let me just show you. Here are a bunch of essential oils. This is from a company named Mind Food. It's a Danish company, and I am so picky when it comes to home scents. I want everything to be very natural and not smell artificial and be really clean, and this company is just the best for that. So these are a bunch of new ones. Back here I already have quite a few, as you see, and I love working with scents. I think it activates your memory and it just creates such an ambience in a room. And I don't know if you remember, but back here I have this little diffuser, which is actually not a diffuser, it's just like a homemade invention, with this alabaster bowl where I put in some, what are they called, lava stones from a necklace. And what I do is just I take a few drops and put it in this bowl, swirl around the lava stones, and then I have this amazing smell in my home. It's just a very effortless, clean process, and I don't have to like think about it too much. It's just right there, right? So I have it here because this is where I sit in the morning, I write my gratitude journal, I meditate with my crystals, and it's just nice to have a really beautiful scent as well. And I love to switch out the scents for every season, so I switch it out for every equinox and solstice. And something else that I got from Mind Food is these beeswax candles, and they smell incredible. This one is called Nordic Shaman, and the scent is so wintry and so Scandinavian. You know, candles and fire is such an important element for creating hygge, because we have all of this darkness outside, so we want to bring in the energy and the fire inside too. Yeah, Denmark is really a candle nation, so but you want to of course choose good options like these beeswax candles. And then I got this one. This is a room spray that I'm gonna experiment a little bit with. So it's like a room spray kit. Again, I'm so critical and so picky when it comes to home scents. So I actually really love this idea of just mixing your own home scent. What you essentially get is this medium right here, and then you fill it with different essential oils. Yeah, I'm probably gonna use this one, the bergamot. I call it bergamot. I don't know about you guys. Here in Denmark, people call it bergamotte, but I've always called it bergamot. I don't know if, if it's just me being fancy or what it is. And then my other favorite scent from this company is their black pepper. It's so like almost intoxicating. And you wouldn't necessarily think of black pepper as this really deep and yeah, intoxicating scent or a pleasurable scent, but their black pepper is so good. Yeah, so that's what my home is gonna smell like. Bergamot and black pepper and the Nordic shaman candles, and I can't wait to get started. There's a lot of action going out outside, so just bear with me here. I do live in the middle of the city, and that's also like one of the reasons why I want to bring all of these natural elements into my home, because we have so much concrete and cars and metal all over. And I don't know, I just feel so much more relaxed and harmonious whenever I have all of these natural elements all around me. I love living in the city, and I love that there's so much culture here. Like, we went to Tivoli. It's like a garden and an amusement park right in the center of Copenhagen, with lots of lights and like different activities for families and lovely food. And I would definitely recommend for you guys to go there. It's so beautiful, and it's very much a Christmas tradition and a holiday tradition around here that families go to visit Tivoli. The one thing that's always missing here in living in the city, living in Copenhagen, is nature. Even though Copenhagen is a super green city, yeah, there's just not the same connection with nature that you would get close to the woods or the water. So that's why I love bringing in all of these natural elements. So these are some of the components that it takes to, for us at least, to create this hygge thing, concept, atmosphere, coziness. So I'm gonna get everything situated and into place, and I'll show you how I go about it. So for me and with AVIUVI, everything is about everyday spirituality and how you can weave spirituality into your everyday life, even if you live in the middle of the city like we do. And that's why I love making these kinds of product videos, I guess you would call it, but also like just piecing together the different elements that we put into our space to create this natural, effortless, spiritual everyday life. And it does take a little bit of mindfulness in making the right choices, I guess, or the best choices. Because there's so many things that are pulling at us and trying to convince us that this is the thing that we want and this is what we need, and when you get this thing you'll be happy and blissful. But in my experience, it's a tapestry of different elements, and for me, definitely these more natural elements, they do make a big impact and make me feel a lot more harmonious, a lot more calm and easy, especially in these days and in these months where we're gonna stay a lot more indoors. But I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and would like more of this type of information where I let you in on our everyday spirituality, our life, and how we work with crystals and what we do in terms of bringing more spirituality into our everyday life. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me to know what you guys want me to talk about, but it also helps others to find this content if that is what they're looking for. And I wish you the most amazing day with so much love to you and to yours.